Hey guys, it's Kasera, and today I'm going to be doing a review for Saga Volumes 1 through 9, written by Brian K. Vaughan and illustrated by Fiona Staples. Saga is a comic series that has about 54 issues out, but they have been combined into 9 volumes or 3 books. I read the Kindle edition for the 9 volumes version, so I read them in like kind of 9 sittings. It takes about an hour each to read. Mind you, I don't read a whole lot of graphic novels or comics or anything like that, so this was kind of out of my comfort zone, but I absolutely loved this so much because this is kind of a sci-fi fantasy. I lean more towards fantasy with this because it kind of has technology and magic, and they're kind of at war with each other. I feel like a sci-fi can't really have magic in it, but a fantasy can have technology. So to me, it feels like a fantasy. And there is this planet called Landfall, and it has a moon called Wreath, and the wings live on Landfall while the horns live on Wreath, and they have been at war with each other forever. So this is also kind of like an intergalactic war situation, but the wings or the Landfall people are very technology driven, and they have allies that are called the robots, and then the Wreath or the horns have magic, and they use magic, and they kind of hate each other, except one of our horned guys over here, it gets taken as a prisoner, and his prison guard right there, they fall in love and they run away together, and they have this cute little baby girl named Hazel. So that's kind of where we start out this series of graphic novels at the very beginning with Hazel's birth, and it's fantastic because both sides of this war don't want Hazel to exist. So these guys are on the run, and there are bounty hunters basically after them, or freelancers I think is what they're actually called in here. One of them is called the Will, and there's also the Stock, and they're fantastic. I absolutely loved every second of this. So like always, I'm going to talk about 4 things: character, plot, world building, and style. I'm going to say not just writing style, but like art style and everything like that in that last section. So I'm going to try and keep this mostly spoiler free, but there will be a little section at the end that I'm going to have to talk spoilers because, let's be real, I have to talk some spoilers. Also, I'm not gonna hold this up the entire time because my arm is going to hurt so much. So we're gonna start with character. So the main character, of course, is Hazel, and she is like narrating this whole thing. I love that they chose to have her be the narrator, even in the beginning when like she's like a baby or even a fetus at the very, very beginning. They have her narrating, and it's fantastic. I love her voice. I love like kind of just who she is and how she grows. She grows up in a very specific situation. Like I said, she's a unique person. There's no one in this universe like her because she has both horns and wings. So she's very different biologically, but she kind of grows up on her own, and she's very independent, and I love that about her. I also love both of her parents. Her mom and her father are Alana and Marco. Alana is a soldier from Landfall, and Marco is a soldier from Wreath, and they kind of bond over this book that Alana really loves, but the book is kind of sort of a pacifist sort of book. So Marco at the very beginning basically vows to never hold a sword again. He doesn't want to be a soldier again. He doesn't want to be part of the war. He doesn't want to be part of the violence, and he wants to be a dad now. And it's just really heartbreaking at times because Marco, like, he wants to be a pacifist so much, but he's like forced to be violent at times, and sometimes like really, really violent, because like he's trying to save his family and everyone is after his family. But like they're just such the sweetest, cute little family that I absolutely love. There are other characters in here, of course. There are, like I said, the freelancers, where one of them is the Stock, who is a fantastic, strong, female, like, power character that I really love. We don't get to see too much of her, but there is her, like, lover or ex-lover, the Will, who is fantastic. We get to see a lot more of him because he's like the main one that is after them, and he has a pretty good backstory as well. I don't think I like the Will as much, but I like his scenes because there's him, but then there's also Sophie, this little girl that he saves, and I absolutely love Sophie. Sophie is fantastic, and he has a sidekick called Lying Cat, which I absolutely love. Lying Cat, because basically whenever someone is lying, Lying Cat says lying. Even if it's like the Will lying to like protect his cover or something, Lying Cat will call him out on it, which I think is fantastic. I absolutely love that aspect of it. There are a lot of other characters too, but I feel like the more I go into this, the more spoilers that I will have. Like, all of the characters I absolutely love. They're very dynamic. They're definitely real people, and I love that about this book. And next, we gotta talk about plot. I really love the way the plot in this book is set up. Like, I love that it's kind of like this irreconcilable differences sort of thing, where there are two sides that are so in conflict with each other, they don't even remember why they've been fighting, and they've been fighting for like years and years and years. And like, there's no way, it's such a complex political situation that there's literally no way that Hazel could like fit into this world. And I love that, because like, there's no way out of it. Like, this is a conflict that there's no good outcome eventually for this, which is like kind of hard to feel, but like, I love it at the same time. I do think there are some volumes where the plot doesn't move forward as much. I think particularly volume 3 stood out to me as probably one of the weaker volumes, but volumes 1 and 2 were really good. And then I think it picked up back again like in volume 4, and then of course volume 9. Break my heart. I absolutely loved volume 9. It finished a lot of the setups from volumes 1 and 2, got really good payoffs in volume 9, which I really loved, and it does end on a bit of a cliffhanger. They are going to continue on with the series eventually, or at least they should be continuing on with the series eventually, but they're just on hiatus now for at least a year, potentially indefinitely, and I really hope it's not indefinitely, because that ending is so good. I love the ending. It's heartbreaking, and it's like action-packed at the same time, and it's so good, and yet it can't end like that. Like, it just can't end like that. But yeah, I really love the ending. The ending was so good. Next, I'm going to talk about world building. I think the world building is where this series like really excels. Partially, I think it helps that it is a graphic novel, because it can do a lot of world building without like massive info dumps, because you could just see based off of like some of the pictures and stuff, some of the world building. For example, you see this right here where you can see Alana and Marco right there. You can't see her wings in there, but you can kind of see his horns. But then there's also these fish people around here. Those are reporters, by the way, and I love them also. They're fantastic. But there's like a bunch of different species involved in this. This is another scene where you can see like the robot and the little girl, Hazel, who is both horns and wings. But like, the robots are also really cool. I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and just everything. I love every part of the world building. The fact that it really manages to get really deep into these cultures and into the politics really draws me into the story, as well as the fact that like, there is just so much different and unique about this world that I absolutely love. And they're like even just small nuances that you wouldn't expect make so much of a difference when it comes to world building. Like, for example, I talked about like the fish people. I don't know what their planet is supposed to be called or anything like that. Apparently their planet is very homophobic, and that is really interesting, because most of the other ones aren't, and most of the other cultures aren't. That difference for me made a huge impact when it came to world building, because it's such a specific thing that is so relevant to kind of like our society, because there are plenty of countries that have no phobia against homosexuality, but then there are countries that it's still very much illegal. So yeah, I think that's really interesting the way that they did that, and I love all of the world building in this series. And last, we're going to talk about style, and I showed you some of the pictures. The art style in this is just absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love it. So I wanted to show you some of the art style from like the first volume, just to see how gorgeous this is, and not to give away too many spoilers, but like, I just love the way this is done. Just like the way that they're drawn is gorgeous. I love the color scheme, just pretty much everything about this. Like even like you see the book that the robot is holding up here. It looks like a real book, which I really love. And like the action sequences are great. I love the action sequences. Like I said, the color scheme. The color scheme is the best. I love the color scheme in this. Look at that. Gorgeous colors, just gorgeous. I love everything about the art style in this. The writing style, I will say, like story-wise, there were some things that annoyed me just a little bit. And that's mostly like, I felt like there were times where it was a little cheesy or overtly sexual for no reason, and that turned me off a little bit from the series. Why most of the volumes in the series I ended up giving like around the 4-star ratings instead of 5-star ratings, but I did end up giving volume 9 a 5-star rating. Do you think that's all I have to say on the non-spoiler section? So if you haven't read these, I highly recommend them. They're a great graphic novel series to start out with. They are very much adult content, so just go into that expecting that there's going to be adult content in there. Absolutely love these graphic novels and highly recommend them. And now I want to talk some spoilers. I need to talk some spoilers, specifically the ending. So if you haven't read these, you can sign off on this video now, go read them, and then you can come back and talk spoilers with me. Because, oh my gosh, that ending, it was like perfect in some ways because Prince Robot, his ending was amazing. I loved his ending, especially since like right before that, like the night before like he died. The night before that happened, he like was really rough with like Squire. And by the way, I love Squire. Squire is so cute. I absolutely love him. I thought that was just such a great, like, perfect ending. I loved the way the prince ended. Oh, another death that actually made me really sad. It was actually a lot earlier on in the series, but the Stock, like, I actually really liked her when she came out because she's so creepy. Like, when she first came up, she was just so creepy. So the fact that she ended, like, so soon totally caught me off guard. Like, I didn't expect for her character arc to end that soon. I think the one that really hurt me, like, earlier on in the books also was Isabel. Like, I really didn't expect to lose Isabel. I don't think anyone expected to lose Isabel because, I mean, she was already dead, so that was completely unexpected, but that one tugged at my heartstrings a little bit. But of course, we gotta talk about the big one. The big one, Marco. I can't right now. Like, I literally just finished volume 9 and I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't know because he was like my favorite character. Like, out of all of them, Marco was probably my favorite. And it breaks my heart so much that he ended that way. And like, it makes sense. Like, it is actually a pretty good character arc for the Will, if nothing else. But Marco, I loved Marco so much, and it's so sad and so depressing, and I'm so angry that I have to wait super long to see what happens next. But like, even the way they did that ending where like you see it happen and then you get like this flashback, but it's not like a way back in time flashback, but like just happened flashback of Marco and Hazel together and showing like how good of a dad he is. It's just so heartbreaking. Oh my gosh. And then of course that last picture. Yeah, no, like I did not tear up that much when I was actually reading it, but thinking back on it now, like I can feel them a little bit. So yeah, if you were totally devastated by that ending, let me know in the comments because I would love to discuss with you guys. Also, if you didn't care about that, but you cared about some of the other deaths or some of the other cool things that happened in this series, let me know down in the comments. I would love to discuss with you guys. I post videos on Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so consider subscribing. I also post bonus videos, so if you want to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.